Hey guys, Dustin Bonez, and welcome to Rock and Roll Headline News. Guns N' Roses guitarist Slash has ended a partnership with Marshall this week. The 30-year partnership came to an end this week as Slash announced that he'd signed a new deal partnering with the brand Magnatone. In a statement, Slash said, "I used a Magnatone 50-watt M80 in the studio earlier this year and was blown away by how it sounded. Since then, I've been working with Magnatone on a 100-watt version of the M80, and I absolutely love what they've come up with. It's killer." Joining us now from the YouTube channel Cut of the Jib is Chris, aka Guitar Rabbi. Rabbi, what do you think about this deal with Magnatone?
This right here kind of came out of nowhere because, when you think of Guns N' Roses, you think of Slash, you think of the Les Paul going into a Marshall Plexi or a JCM 800. The Magnatone amps, from what they've made thus far, are a much different kind of amplifier.
So, what are some of the technical differences between these two brands?
Well, first of all, the region is a big difference, which does play a lot into the sound. With the, like you take, for instance, the Marshall JCM 800 or the 900 or the Plexi or any of the Slash models that were limited edition that Marshall put out, they tend to have a lot of top end in their sound, which kind of counters the low end of the Les Paul, which you get with that. With the Magnatone amps, they're kind of modeled after the Fender amps and the Dumble amps, kind of a hybrid between the two, which gives a much fuller, much more round sound and kind of really fills in the holes. But the thing that makes Magnatone different from the Fender amps, such as the Twin Reverb or something like that, is that it has a lot more character to it, more of a three-dimensional sound.
What do those sponsorships mean to a musician? Why do you think he would decide to change brands?
I think one of the main reasons why he chose to change is because of the fact that Marshall's under new management. And Marshall's new management, I don't know the gentleman's name, but he's also the head of Van Sneakers, Adidas, and North Face. Nothing that has anything to do with music. And also, Marshall has not really changed their lineup in over 30 years. And so when you got a guy coming in from the outside that doesn't know anything about amplifiers, but then you go and you look at Magnatone, and this is a guy that kind of brought it back to the life in the 2010s, brought it back. It's been dead since the 1970s. This is a guy that was formerly of Ampeg and St. Louis Music, who also was involved in the making of Alvarez guitars and brands like Antiqua and Austin guitars and Dixon drums. This is a guy with a love for the amplifiers, and it's a boutique amplifier, much different than your, stock JCM or the Marshall Plexi. So there's a lot that they can offer Slash, because this reminds me a lot of the deal that PRS made with John Mayer. John Mayer wanted Fender to change up his line of guitars, and they said, no, we're just going to release the same one again. They didn't want to go into the new era. But however, I think Magnatone, considering they were able to get Billy Gibbons, and now Slash, who basically is the brand spokesman for Gibson, is going to bring a lot of people over to Magnatone.
How much do you think the brand will be affected by this kind of change, if at all?
I think it'll be affected greatly because of the fact that you're going to start to see more partnerships between brands like Gibson, which it's interesting because you see a lot of Fender players playing Magnatone guitars. I think that when he starts to use these on stage, and you know what? He actually used one in a music video with Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators. You're going to end up hearing a much larger sound out of Slash. And this fits in well because Magnatone is known for making blues amps. And, Slash is supposedly working on a blues album.
Well, that's something else I was going to ask you, because Slash does have that very specific guitar style and sound that fans have grown accustomed to over the years. What changes in Slash's sound should we expect?
I think with this amp, first of all, they're going to craft it to sound like however he wants it to. So it's not going to sound like the stock ones that we've heard before. There's going to be a lot of change because they're going to have a signature amp for him. So there's going to be some changes. But I would expect it to be a much bigger sound, a lot more bottom end, a lot more of filling in the holes, which he already has a big sound, but expect it to get bigger and expect it to be more versatile as well.
Well, Rabbi, I want to thank you for being here. Folks, if you want more information on this, you can tune into Cut of the Jib on YouTube. Rabbi's going to be going live and talking about this very topic in a lot more detail on his show, Rock Talk Live, pretty soon. So if you want to know and you want to stay up to date and you want to see that particular live stream, then click the link in the description of this podcast to head over there and give him a subscribe. And be sure to subscribe to this channel to stay up to date with all the latest rock and roll news. Thank you for liking and sharing this video, and we will see you next time.